All right, so I'm here today to talk about what FRC is and also why we train at our end ranges. So FRC stands for Functional Range Conditioning. It's a movement enhancement system that works on increasing and enhancing your mobility, active range of motion, and your joint health and control. So the FRC system was developed by Dr. Andrea Spina, and it essentially utilizes 3 goals in order to enhance our movement and the things that we do. So one of the main goals is our mobility, and it's really important to understand what the difference is between mobility and flexibility. So flexibility is essentially using an external force, whether it's gravity or another limb or a prop or something, to bring you into a certain range of motion. Whereas mobility is an active range of motion. So I'll give you an example. Let's look at the wrist. If I was to go into a plank position or a handstand, for example, gravity is going to be pushing me into a range of extension in my wrist that I couldn't actually do utilizing my own force, my own control. So my active range of motion or my mobility is me utilizing my own strength, my own force to bring myself into that same kind of range. So mobility, we are working in the FRC system to increase our mobility, which means better control and better joint strength. And these are some of the other elements, the goals that we are working with in the FRC system. So joint strength, that means that we're utilizing the things that surround the tissues, that surround the joint. And by creating better joint strength, it also means that we can stabilize a little bit better, and it can help us prepare for injuries a little bit better. So I say prepare because as long as we're moving individuals, there's always going to be potential for us to get injured. And by working our joint strength, it means that we are mitigating the potential of an injury, not necessarily preventing it. The other element that we can also work on through the FRC system is creating better body control. And that's because the things that we are doing are working beyond just the superficial tissues. We're working the neurology. We are increasing our neurological control of the joints and the things that we do. And that means that we can move better, we can move more efficiently, we can move safely as well. And that's going to help decrease pain. It's going to help us move better and feel better in the things that we do. So we have our mobility that we're working with, we're having our joint strength and also better body control. This is definitely something that we can all work on as long as we are moving human beings. And we do this by working into our end ranges of motion. So we work into our different end ranges of motion in a variety of different ways. And I'm gonna have my lovely assistant Loic come to explain a little bit more why we work into our end ranges of motion.
Hello everybody. Changing accent, changing off accent. So basically, I'm just gonna explain you and do a little graph of training at end ranges. What does that do really? So basically, I have a little graph here. That's the amount of strength and capacity that you have. So I'm just gonna go here like that. So that's the amount of strength and capacity that you have. And the curve, if I was gonna take my shoulder, for example, that's gonna be end range external rotation. So it's the first point and it's at the bottom of the strength curve, because here I'm not really able to produce a lot of strength that way. So it's really low on the strength curve. If I go lower, that's mid-range, yeah? So mid-range here, really strong. That's where we are basically to go and arm wrestle, and we are really strong. So if the curve, if it was gonna be a curve, the curve would go up here, and then the mid-range would be, am I in the camera? I hope so. That's the mid-range, that's the point where it is. So really strong, and then usually we really strong mid-range, plus minus 15%. So plus minus 50%, 15, sorry. Boom. So that's the zone where we're strong, it's here. And then we go down to internal rotation at end range here. Am I strong there? No, not really, not at all. So the curve goes back down and the point is here. So the 2 points here are pretty much on the same level. Maybe some of us will be stronger in internal rotation, some others will be stronger in external rotation, so those points can be on a different level. But basically that's the thing with training at end range, what we want. Sorry, I know it's confinement, it's not the time to talk about curve, but basically what we want is flattening the curve. Everyone wants to flatten the curve right now, but that's what we want to do too. So basically that point, external rotation, will train it to get stronger here. And then internal rotation will train that to get stronger here. And so if we link those points together, you can, mid-range, you're usually training that with what you're already doing. If it's CrossFit, yoga, whatever, like anyways, life made you that way, so we're pretty strong there. So even if that doesn't go up, the curve is gonna flatten. And so that's why we want to train at end range, and there's a difference between training at end range and to end range. Training at end range means that we are gonna be training here and not to there. That's training to end range. So training there, that's why we do isometric work, because we are at end range and we want to create force. And then yeah, like when you do that in a movement, whatever it is, and you go there, that's training to end range. So that's the difference. That's it. I hope it makes sense. If it doesn't, just ask questions. See ya.
Alright, so we have training at end range, which is going to help as well improve our mobility, improve our joint strength, and improve our control. It's just essentially expanding the potential of what we can do in our movement. And as long as we are continuously training and doing different activities and things and we want to get better at them, it means working into the areas that we might be more vulnerable or we might be a little bit weaker in. And by working into those ranges, the end ranges, then that's going to expand our capacity in our joints for the things that we can do, so we can continue not only doing things better, but also with better efficiency and safety, and of course, pain-free. So yeah, I think that's about it for now, and we will continue with some more informative information in the long run. So speak to you later.